Hi, I am on Richmond's North Side right now on Seminary Avenue and wanted to give a little overview of the Richmond North Side area. The main neighborhood in the North Side is Ginter Park. Ginter Park was created in the 1890s as a real estate development by Louis Ginter, and it was actually a separate city. It was developed in Henrico County. It was later annexed into the city of Richmond, and there was high-speed rail between downtown Richmond and Ginter Park, and it went all the way to Ashland. The electric railroad, was the vehicle to get people out here. It was one of the first real suburbs of Richmond, lived in by fairly wealthy people with access to funds and taste and architects, and they built these beautiful houses. One of the houses behind me is one of the oldest here, but you've got Ginter Park, which has Seminary Avenue, and then like Walton and Hawthorne. But there are a number of other neighborhoods in Richmond's North Side. They're also extremely good neighborhoods to consider as a place to live in Richmond. Bellevue, which is a neighborhood which is a little bit later for the most part than Ginter Park, a little bit to the north and the west. Smaller houses, a lot of craftsman style houses that were built in the 1920s, which actually, interestingly enough, is a neighborhood where Warren Beatty and Shirley MacLaine grew up because their father was the principal of the Ginter Park Elementary School. There is a neighborhood a little bit further to the south of Ginter Park and a little more to the west called Sherwood Park that was mainly developed in the 1920s. However, it was planned out by Ginter in the late 1890s, and the Frederick Law Olmsted Group planned the layout of the neighborhood. So it has some very beautifully laid out streets. Most of the houses in it were built in the 1920s. And then slightly a little bit further south, there are a couple of neighborhoods that are abutting Sherwood Park and Ginter Park and Bellevue, kind of tucked in with each other. The Laburnum Park, which is Palmyra and Laburnum, but a few streets in there. Most of the streets have parkways down the middle. And then another little neighborhood called Westwood that is a very charming sort of 1912, 15, 1914 arts and crafts style development. And I can't remember how many houses, but there are like maybe 15 or 20 houses. But when they were built, they all shared a common heating plant. And that has kept the neighborhood sort of tied to each other for years. They no longer have a common heating plant, but they do have like common area in the back where they have a tennis court and a playground, and they have some garages and things like that that were part of the original communal development. And then further to the east, there are neighborhoods like Ginter Park Terrace and Barton Heights. But Richmond's North Side is a very suburban, early suburb, streetcar suburb of downtown central Richmond. If you have questions about how this might work for you as a neighborhood to consider living in, please reach out. I'd love to talk to you about it.